Hello. There are plenty of people trying to create businesses that make use of Bitcoin SV's speed, micropayments, and low transaction fees. And there are lots of ambitious business models being dreamed up. But not so many are already working and have made money from the word go. Today, I'm looking forward to hearing about one that has. It's called Genuine Retweets, and I'd like to welcome its founder, Nick Numas. Hi, Nick.
Hello, Charles. Thank you very much for having me.
You're listening to CoinGeek Conversations with Charles Miller.
Well, let's start by trying to understand how Genuine Retweets works as a business. And what you're doing, as I understand it, is putting together people who want more exposure for their tweets with people who are prepared to retweet and like and so on if they're paid for it. Is that the basic idea?
It's the basic idea, Charles. It's more to try and connect the right people to the right businesses. So the people that want to share your stuff, share your stuff. And they don't have to actually, the promoters don't actually have to do it. They are just privy to it and they have a choice whether they share it or not.
Right, exactly. So it's kind of an interesting kind of halfway house because there's a bit of judgment involved on all sides, isn't there? Because you have to pick who is going to be allowed to take part in terms of promoting. And also presumably you have to pick what you accept for being promoted.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we have, we've got a moderation system for the promotion. So we've got 15 moderators that operate all around the world and they see the jobs coming in, whether they come through PayPal or whether they come through Bitcoin. We've got a moderation system and they get paid 25 cents for each moderation. But they've been given very clear directives as to what we're looking for in terms of tweets that go through. In terms of the people doing the tweeting, you have to be valuable to the businesses that use our service. If you're not a valuable person, i.e. if you do loads of giveaways and your account looks really tacky, or if your account looks fake or and stuff like that, we won't let you in to do the promoting. So you have to be like a real person. You have to socialize. You have to be kind of nice. That helps, and you have to be online talking and actually add value to a business.
And so that sounds like quite a complicated judgment to make. Do you have sort of more specialist people making those kind of decisions about who can promote and who can't?
Well, I check every single account and because I'm very passionate about the businesses that use our service doing well. So I personally want to make sure that they have the best people sharing their accounts. And this is what I said at the start of the business to my partners, is that I'll be checking every single one. And so far we've checked about 2,400 and we've let through 640.
Wow. And so for somebody who's watching this and is kind of interested in BSV and does a bit of tweeting and so on, what are the broad kind of guidelines that you could explain that would tell them whether they should apply or not?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there, Charles, who you'll see online that we get a lot of moaning and stuff. I've tried to apply for Genuine Retweets. I've not been let in and stuff. If you check those accounts, you'll simply see that these people are not useful to businesses at all. They spend most of their days sort of groveling for money and they haven't particularly got a really good name, or they're not really useful online, or they don't talk. They just retweet stuff and they don't do anything. We want people who want to talk about business stuff, who actually want to talk about it and have friends that they talk to on a regular basis. Otherwise, you simply, you shouldn't really be promoting. Like a lot of people out there just think it's a charity that we run. Let me through the door so I can do this retweeting and liking because I want to get paid. It's not like that. If you are unuseful to a business, you shouldn't be paid for promoting, in our opinion. So you have to roughly 100 followers at least would do. I'll go online and check if you're real, if you talk to people, if you're useful, if you're nice, and just have a look at your social behavior online, see if you're valuable to the clients, because clients can check, Charles. They can click on the like and retweet and they can check who's doing stuff.
Oh, is that right? Because so let me just I'll explain. I have done participated in the program kind of early on, but then I had another go yesterday because I hadn't done it for a while. And I must say it worked incredibly well. The first thing I did was I put up a tweet saying, does anybody have any thoughts about Genuine Retweets? And I paid $5 to have that promoted. In other words, to get 5 comments. Well, I got like 14 comments or something straight away. And actually, so I think you've answered one of my questions, because I wasn't sure whether I could tell which of the ones were the paid ones and which were just ordinary comments. But there is a way of doing that, is there?
Yeah, we've got a commenters team that we manage in a separate group where they have to meet the standards that we're looking for in terms of their comments. The commenters have a very specific job. Their job is to incite conversation online and to increase engagement. For the commenters that are unable to do that, they get sacked immediately. And that's happened about 3 or 4 times now. So the commenters actually get extra money for their job, you see, so they get paid quite well.
But if I look down the list of comments on that tweet, can I tell which ones are the paid ones and which are the ordinary ones? Or is it just a question of looking down your list of paid commentators?
We can tell on our back end.
Yeah.
And we can also tell because we know the people that are doing the comments. But the whole idea is it should be difficult to tell for someone who's paid for it. They should just mingle into the natural comments, because what we're trying to go for there, Charles, is when people come to look at that conversation in, say, 3 or 4 weeks down the line, they can look at those comments and see an interesting conversation and good engagement in terms of the context of the tweet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it seemed to work brilliantly, but then I didn't know how well it would have worked if I hadn't had those ones thrown in as well. But anyway, so no complaints there. And then on the other side, I saw that there was an opportunity to retweet and get paid for something that I didn't even really study it very much, but I think I just liked it. And I got about 2 minutes later, my hand cash app pinged and I'd got paid 4 pence, which is about 6 US cents or something. So that was pretty amazing, I must say.
Thank you.
And well, okay, so now just a couple of things on the comments that people gave about their experience. There were some pretty good ones, I must say. There's a guy here who says, I bought at least 2 dinners a week with my earnings. It simply doesn't get better than that. I mean, that's quite a lot. That must be what, $20-30 or something per week. That seems like a lot.
Our promoters are in various jurisdictions all over the world, and their economic circumstances vary diversely. So we receive letters from people that we've apparently changed their lives with the earnings that they're getting through Genuine Retweets. So you're probably referring to someone who comes from a poor economic jurisdiction.
Right, their dinner will be quite cheap.
Well, we've doubled some people's wages.
That's amazing.
So we receive letters, Charles. It's humbling because I'm in England. I'm in Tunbridge Wells. Fish and chips around here is 20 quid. Yeah, so some of these people are from different jurisdictions all over the world. Venezuela, for example, that we know is struggling. Greece, Spain, France, Africa. Our promoters are all over the world. So some of them are very, very grateful of the earnings. And even the ones that we can say that are from the first world, even they're earning, $100 extra a month or something like that.
That's amazing. But so these people who live in the developing world, they have got to be plugged into the whole BSV system, and they've got to have a kind of authority within that subject area in order to be able to do this. Yeah,
they're really useful. The people that are passionate about BSV, we don't really mind where in the world they live, because we're not biased. Obviously, Bitcoin's an unbiased system, isn't it? So we just need them to turn up, and their presence is valued highly. And that's what we're trying to teach people, is that, being a person online, we value that highly. And so should every single business in this day and age, because without those people online, Charles, as we both know, there is no business. So we're trying to re-educate people now to show them your presence is valuable online. And we foresee in the future, there'll be a lot more type of business operations which compensate people because of their presence online.
I mean, that is so terrific, because there's been so much talk about banking the unbanked and sort of it's going to, level the playing field and all that. But it's pretty hard to find examples of that. But this just really is an example, isn't it?
We think so, Charles. We think so. The other side of it is as well is that, when you look at the price of the jobs, you've said before that you've spent $5. Well, imagine if you were starting a new business and you were looking at something to give you a bit of a push, something that would help you get your business out there on something like Twitter. Well, at the moment, you've got promoted tweets. It's very, very expensive. Unless you're a McDonald's and can afford to spend longevity in the longevity, you're in trouble. But, you know, with our system, you can be a one-man band and you can get attention, good attention from the right people for less than, you know, $10 as well.
Well, actually, I looked at the Twitter promotion because I was offered that at the same time. And you're absolutely right. The minimum payment would be £10 for 1 day. And that is only estimated to reach 280 to 690 people a day. Strangely accurate, but wide range of people. But the problem is that it's only in the UK. That would only be UK Twitter users. So in many ways, that is just not as useful to me at all.
We don't know who these people are, Charles, and it's futile. You know, 640 who? Is it 640 clowns? Is it 640 OAPs? Yeah. Is it a bunch of school kids? You know,
it just means that the tweet gets put on somebody's timeline, doesn't it?
That's it. It's not good enough. It's not good enough for a small business. That's why we've had to take action, because we need services where small businesses can run on places like Twitter. We actually need them.
What I think is interesting about this is the sort of editorial side of it, because in a way it's a little bit like Instagram influencers, in that they are people who make money sometimes by endorsing things. But if they do it too much and their followers think that that is why they're on Instagram at all, then their value goes down. And I guess you've got, or you're, in fact, the people who use your service have to make that same kind of balance, so that it's no good just being there so that people think you're just there for making money.
The difference is there, Charles, is that influencers look tacky and they charge a lot more money than what we do. So when you see these influencers online, why are they suddenly talking about a cardigan? You know, is it perhaps because the cardigan company said to them, well, here's $300? On our system, it's very discreet and you keep your integrity as a business because nobody knows that you've used the service. It's impossible. So,
but if I suddenly started promoting everything that was available in Genuine Retweets, people might say, oh, what's he on about? You know, he doesn't normally talk about all that stuff. And does he really know what he's talking about? And if I did it too much, I think it would be a problem.
Yeah, you've got to use it sparingly. You see, it's not to be used on every single tweet. I mean, I don't use it on all my tweets.
No.
I use it probably on 25% of them or something like that. So it's a business tool to be used sporadically and intelligently as well. And what's more important than the actual tweets, Charles, is the 141 characters that you write yourself. You know, that's the most important thing, really. So if I was going to use it every single time, it would be the 140 characters that I'd be concentrating on.
And how scalable do you think this business is? Because you've explained how you actually need moderators to look through things. If you wanted to turn this into a really big business, how easy or difficult would that be?
Yeah, this will be a very easy process for us because first of all, we've updated our infrastructure now to cope with 10,000 promoters at a time. Before this, we were very worried about the Twitter API and how many calls that we make on that API, because it's a very intricate process as to the back end calling on the API. It's not as straightforward as what people think. Our development team have now put us in a situation where we can have 10,000 users use our service comfortably. And
well, hang on, let's just go into that, because we haven't explained about that. Because so that is because when somebody who's going to get paid does retweet or like or something, you need to know that that's happened in order to pay them, right? And that means seeing what's on Twitter.
Yeah, there's an API call that's made, from our robots in the background on our back-end system, yes. And it does that every 2 minutes of every day.
Wow, so that's quite a, but that pretty much, when you've got it set up, looks after itself, I suppose.
Yeah, we've woken up this morning to quite a few jobs, yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay, but so going back to the scaling question then.
Yeah. This business will scale very, very big over the next 12 months. And there will be offers put on the table within the next 12 months. We're already starting to get offers now. In terms of the scaling, we have already started our first white label of this business. This business was never intended to be a Bitcoin SB business at all. It was a test of concepts. So we were testing a concept on Twitter. We thought that if we test it in Bitcoin, which is probably the most pessimistic area you could test this concept in, being There are no BSV users. We thought if we can make it work in this space, it will work anywhere.
Well, except the one thing you have got going with the BSV people, as you say, is may not be very many of them, but they will be very happy to have BSV put into their hand cash wallet. Whereas other communities, how are you going to cope with that?
Yeah, well, we've already started a white label, Charles. Yeah, this was always supposed to be a white label SaaS business from day one.
So how does the white label overcome the BSV problem?
Our first white label is in an area on Twitter, which is 10 times the size of BSV, which needs a lot of help as a community. This was always going to be the idea of Genuine Retweets. Okay, we have already started that business in another area, and it is already working today with people that do not know anything about Bitcoin. Okay,
and so is it a secret as to what it is?
Yeah, we're keeping it a secret because we don't really want BSV people there, because it's not for them, unfortunately. Sorry, guys, but it's not for you. But
okay, well, but so for the people in this new area, funny enough, I was going to ask you, well, what about if you wanted to reach teachers or doctors or lawyers or something like that? Perhaps it would work. Yeah. But then my question would be, well, but would they have to have hand cash wallets in order to be paid?
Yeah. So what we're finding is that, so for the first 50 or so people that we've had for our new white label in this local area, there's people that know nothing about Bitcoin who are stopping me and saying stuff like, where's the jobs? Because they've already been paid for the jobs. So that they don't really know what they're receiving, but they know they're getting paid.
So are they using hand cash wallets?
Yes, they are. Yes. About 40 people we've got so far. And, I walk past the barbershop. I keep walking past the barbershop because one of my friends who works in there is one of our new customers. And every time I walk past there now, he says, where are the jobs? And he doesn't care about Bitcoin. And that's the same for all of them. And that's what we intended this system for, was for non-Bitcoiners to use and be able to promote. Now, on the other side, Charles, the promoters can actually pay for jobs with PayPal. So the promoters don't need to know anything about Bitcoin. So in this new domain of ours and in our Genuine Retweets now, 50% of the jobs are paid with Fiat. But despite the fact that 50% of the jobs are paid with Fiat, our system will still take that Fiat and automatically pay out in Bitcoin.
But for the guy who's doing the retweeting and has his hand cash wallet, how is he going to turn that money out of his wallet into pounds?
Well, this is why we've had to put a stop to our most recent version, the white label, even though it went off to a ferocious start, because up until Michael Hudson and Gravity last week, we were relying on that infrastructure, and we'd spent a hell of a lot of time building that infrastructure into our business and educating people on how to use that infrastructure in a series of small videos, which we've had to pull the whole lot now, because obviously Gravity aren't going to be about for another 3 or 4 months. So we've had to put a whole stop to that business, and it was flying.
But so those people, they did have to find out that they were being paid in Bitcoin SV and that they had to have a Gravity wallet to get it back into pounds and so on.
They are not interested in the Bitcoin, which is going to break the heart of all the Bitcoiners listening to this, that real people don't want it, and they're not interested in it at all, and they can't do anything with it anyway. They want the pounds. And we had a system with Michael Hudson where they can take those pounds for 2%, pressing one button. And a lot of our fans were asking about that.
But did they have to do KYC and everything with Gravity?
Yeah, they would have had to do so. Yeah, they would have had to do so. Yeah.
So it's not seamless, even however well you can organize it.
It's not seamless, Charles, but what we're finding is that once people earn the money, money talks, money talks.
Well, so just give me an idea of whether I was sort of vaguely on the right track when I was thinking, well, maybe you could pay doctors to endorse drugs or lawyers to endorse something, or interest groups of that nature. Is that the kind of thing you've got in mind?
Yeah, the way this has got to be approached, Charles, is that we did this business specifically for crypto Twitter. We're not a marketing company at all. Otherwise, we'd be on all different platforms. We'd be on Instagram, we'd be on YouTube, we'd be on many different platforms. We are specifically for crypto Twitter. So the second area we looked at is 10 times the size of crypto on Twitter, 10 times the size. Okay. And the people in that area, they really need our help. And the people that like that area, they really want to support it. So if it wasn't for Gravity having to sort of hold back for a couple of months, we would be very well known already right now. We're in talks with a Canadian group at the moment who want to do another version for an area that they're looking at, right? Which isn't doctors and all that sort of stuff, but it's a very big domain on Twitter. And we're also in talks with an ex Radio 1 promoter who's friends with Rihanna, he keeps saying, about a music version, which we wanted to start quite some time ago. And we're also in talks with another group about a golfing version for the golf community. Yeah, we're also in talks with, or we've started talks with Aston Villa Football Club to have a version just for their fans as well, because football's pretty big on Twitter, but it's really big for, it's quite difficult for the clubs outside the top 6 to actually get noticed on Twitter. So we're trying to talk to Aston Villa at the moment. You know, so there's many different things you could use. I was looking at some of your career last night, Charles. I mean, someone like yourself, a documentary version, you know, for people who like documentaries, if there was a market for that on Twitter, it would be a goer. I think where people are getting confused is that a lot of people just think, well, we've got this service, we've set it up on Bitcoin and it's going to work everywhere and that's how you do it. Got to look at the culture of the platform you're using and ask yourself, is there profit and demand first? Because that's what we did. If crypto was all on Instagram, you wouldn't see genuine retweets. You would see genuine Instagram posts. So if we were going for football as a sport, we would probably do it on Instagram, because that's where footballers socialize and that's where they do the haircuts and all that sort of stuff. But they don't do haircuts on Twitter because the culture is totally different. So
right, but there's no reason why the technology wouldn't work on Instagram or something there, is there?
Yeah, there is. I mean, you've got to look at the numbers on Instagram, Charles. They're totally different to the numbers on Twitter, and so is the API. The API calls that you're allowed to make on the API for Instagram, not the same as the one for Twitter or Clubhouse or any of these other websites that we've looked into.
Right. So it's being able to monitor what is going on the platform that is the limiting factor that makes Twitter good.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's you can do stuff on other websites, but you know, the Twitter API allows quite a lot, but we're almost in a situation now where we don't need their API anyway, because 12 months ago when we started the business, we knew this would be a threat at some point, or it could be a threat. So, you know, since that point onwards, we've been looking to put ourselves in a position where the API is irrelevant anyway, and we've almost hit that point now.
But so how can you not need their API?
Because the developers are very talented and very skillful.
Oh, they sort of work around it.
Yeah, they hate it when I talk about them because they're so humble, but we've got a very talented development team, right, and we're always working around problems.
But just going back to the way of expanding this, I mean, am I right in thinking that it depends on the micropayment ability of BSV? It would be nothing with if you hadn't got micropayments using BSV, then it's not going to work, right?
We can't do it. We can't do it without Bitcoin SV. This business doesn't happen because we use the plumbing to facilitate people getting paid all over the world, because there's no other way we can do that. Right.
Well, I said in the intro that Genuine Retweets was making money right from the word go. Is that right?
Yeah. We broke even in 2 weeks. Yeah, and we've made profit every single week, and we pay a full-time developer now. We pay him European wages, but he's elsewhere. So we were able to pay a full-time employee with the business. It's very profitable. It's doing really well. It's successful. It's allowed me to stop my dancing career now because it's doing that well. So
that's a shame.
Well, not for me, it's not. But I mean, I've changed careers now, Charles. But I mean, I'm dancing a lot more than what I was before. Yeah, a lot more.
But just for fun.
Just for fun, yeah. So, but it's doing that well, where we can, you know, it's allowed that. So it's a profitable Bitcoin SV business, and we've put that opportunity on a plate for other people as well, because we've got white label capabilities now. So, you know, on the white labels, we expect people to be very fruitful and profitable and successful and happy with the white labels.
And then will that work like a sort of franchise or something?
That's it, Charles. Yeah, it's almost like a franchise, except you have your own domain name, and then you know, you change a load of text on our website to how you would prefer it. Then we've got a 67-page contract that you would sign, and then you know, from that point onwards, you're in control of your own business, and we retain 15% of the turnover as our business.
But the franchisee would have to arrange their own moderation system and that kind of thing then.
Well, the moderation system is automated. All of our systems are automated. Yeah.
But in terms of what you were talking about making sure that the right kind of people are taking part and so on. That's not automated.
Yeah, you just find the right 15 or 20 people that want to do the moderation. And also with the moderation, right, Charles, once we've let a business through 3 or 4 times on the back end system, we can input their hand cash or their PayPal, and you won't need to do moderation anymore.
You mentioned your previous life, dancing and teaching dancing and so on. We probably haven't got too much time, but just how did you get from there to here, and particularly Genuine Retweets?
Yeah, you know, Charles, I was under so much pressure in my life with dancing because even though it was a fun job and stuff, I was really worried about my future. And I didn't realize how sort of stressed out I was because I was doing it for 16 years, but I didn't get nothing out of it at all. Because when you do that sort of job, you're just doing it to help the parents of the children, really. And that was my whole focus for 16 years, was how hard can I work for the mums and dads of these children, right? And then 16 years went like that. And then when the coronavirus came, I spoke to my mum and I said, Mum, I said, I don't think I'll ever have a chance to sort my career out ever again. And this was 1 month into the coronavirus in 2020. I said, if I ignore all my training for the next few months and I focus on Bitcoin, will you support me if it all goes wrong? And my mum said, yes, she would. And then we just started the business, and it's just doing really well now, and I'm very happy.
But how did you get yourself into a position where you were sort of sufficiently sort of deep into Bitcoin SV and stuff that you could work out this and invent this business model?
It was to do with TDXP, really. They put a lot of pressure on us at the start of the business, and there was only a couple of employees at the start. And I was given certain numbers and pretty much told, like, we need to hit these numbers.
Right, we haven't explained that you're also the marketing manager for TDXP, which is an innovative BSV-based trading platform. So TDXP made you think about promotion on Twitter and so on.
Yeah, I owe a lot to Armin, who's taught me so much about business and engagement and marketing. He's a very intelligent person and has got an unbelievable understanding of social media marketing. So, we tried to increase our numbers. We tried giveaways. We just got followed by loads of robots. It made us look really tacky. And, we took all of that onto Telegram to try and avoid these robots. Well, they found us again on Telegram. And eventually I spoke to Ben and I said to Ben, I really need to hit these numbers. I need this to be the situation. I want to compensate TDXP followers for helping us because we're always nagging them, but I can't do it without these robots keep finding us all the time. And then that's when Ben started explaining about the, I've said his name now. Sorry, Ben, I've said your name now. That's when Ben started.
That's your developer.
Yeah, that's when Ben explained about the API and how we could actually get around the problem by having a private Twitter account, use the API. And then the first thing I said was, well, couldn't other businesses in this space use this service if we were to do this? And then he went, I suppose so, yeah. Right. So that's how businesses started from there, because we just felt we had no options. And honestly, Charles, I'm the sort of person where if I've got no options and there's nothing, I will do it myself. I will just do it. So that's how the business was born. It was born out of pressure from Armin, really.
Well, that's a classic startup story, because there was a problem that you had yourself that the business is going to fix for everyone who uses the business.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
So, there's what I wanted to talk about just quickly, Charles. My business partner said, make sure you talk about the white labels, Nick.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's talk about that.
What it is, Charles, we're trying to find people in BSV that have a work rate, that want to work, that have got the confidence to believe that they can be successful like we are. We hear a lot of talking. There's a lot of fancy words. There's a lot of fancy language, and there's a lot of intelligent people. Where's the profitable businesses? We've got one, and it works today. We've put it on a plate for people with white labels, right? We've put it on a plate. So we want to find all these people that want BSV to work, and we want to find whatever domain they're into, and we want to go ahead with them in a white label. Because if they want to contribute towards Bitcoin, we have a very serious opportunity to change your life right now with the white labels, because it's a very profitable business. It works very well,
So what exactly are you looking for? What a person with what kind of an idea are you looking for?
You don't need any ideas. There's no idea needed. There's no coding needed. Do you have a passion for anything outside of Bitcoin? That is what we're trying to find out. For example, everybody knows I love dancing. I love football. I love boxing, and I love films. I'm a normal guy, right? I love music. Those are things I like. Those are areas that I want to contribute towards. Bitcoin is low down on the list. I'm not one of these kind of geeky guys that is going to read about Merkle trees tonight when international football is on. Yeah, I'll be watching the football, right? So we're looking for people who have got a passion of anything, that can have the foresight to understand that Bitcoin can be done outside of Bitcoin.
Right.
That have the foresight to understand that they could also pay out $35,000 in micropayments over the last 9 months in a domain that they want to support. They need to understand, if they want to be a legend in a field of their own, they have that opportunity now, because there is no marketing service in the world that can compete with Genuine Retweets on Twitter. There is nothing. There's nothing. So, we're trying to find BSV people that want this number to go up. Come and help the number go up. If we had 10 versions of Genuine Retweets, the number will go up.
So if I'm somebody watching this and I'm interested in film, for instance, and I know I've got a lot of film related Twitter content, I would come to you and I'd say, I'm interested in starting a film version of Genuine Retweets.
Yes.
And then would I be buying the franchise license from you in order to set that up, or what?
You can do, yeah. There's options. So $50,000 is the price that we put on a franchise at the moment, right? That's to see if people are serious, to see who's really about it. That's sort of negotiable, because there's percentages on the other side as well. Okay, but the ballpark figure is what we've said is $50,000 for a franchise. It's on a plate, Charles. There's no coding required. You never need any code to run this franchise at all. It's all on a plate for you. The profit margin.
You'd also be promising me, I guess, that you wouldn't be selling another film-related one to somebody else. You'd have to have sort of like borders around the subjects.
Honestly, Charles, you're brilliant. You are. You asked. You make the right comments exactly. How we've put it. Yes, you get exclusivity in your given domain. So, I mean, the other way to do it is that we're quite happy to have managers manage these white labels as well, and that we maintain the ownership of them. With the Formula One version, we imagine that that's going to be the case, that we'll still be the owners of it, and we'll have a manager managing it. The profit margins are phenomenal, Charles. So if you do a job you ordered a job that was $5, we would class that as a unit or a job.
Right.
On the profit on that job compared to let's say other business models in the space, there's no comparison, really.
Yeah, because it doesn't really cost you anything, does it?
There's no comparison, Charles. I mean, if you look at on Twitter now and you see where do people earn the most Bitcoin SV, it's with my business, Genuine Retweets, by far, right? Because we have paid out about $30,000 to $35,000 now in microtransactions. I don't think there's any other platforms that can boast of anything anywhere near that type of business. And that's why we're getting these lovely letters from people all over the world, because with our business, it's not 5 or 6 people getting rich. We all get rich together. The businesses get rich because they've got the right people supporting. We all get rich because we're doing a good job promoting. And it's very much, what Dr. Wright's described can happen in Bitcoin if it's used correctly as plumbing.
Fantastic. If some very, very rich person comes along and says, can I write you a check to buy Genuine Retweets? What would you say to that?
Depends on the check, really, Charles. I mean, the business is doing so well, there's no pressure to sell. I mean, we're actually selling Genuine Retweets at the moment, if anyone wants to buy it. The reason why we'd want to sell that, Charles, is because we're not particularly passionate about BSV. You mean
you're selling the existing version, but keeping?
We would sell Genuine Retweets as a white label to somebody who really cared about BSV. Yes, because I'll be watching international football tonight, and I can't wait.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nicky. It's been really, really interesting. And it's just wonderful to be talking about a BSV business that is making money, and it's simple, and it does exactly what BSV has always been supposed to be doing, including making money for people living all around the world in places where their dinner is is going to be much cheaper than ours in England.
Exactly, Charles. Bitcoin is even though when I say comments like I'm not that much into Bitcoin, as an entrepreneur, I am very besotted with Bitcoin. If anybody can find me a better tool to do entrepreneurship on the internet than Bitcoin, I need to see it, because as far as I'm concerned, there is no better tool to do business with on the internet than Bitcoin. And all the entrepreneurs, they're going to kick themselves in 2-3 years' time. They're going to say, how did this guy see it so early? How did he see it so early? There is no better. The great British pound has let me down, Charles, as an entrepreneur. It is stifling me as an entrepreneur. It's stifling my creativity. It's not allowing me to work on the WWWs, which last time I checked meant World Wide Web. So the pound doesn't allow me to do business on the World Wide Web. It's farcical. Thank you, Bitcoin. Thank you, Bitcoin, for allowing me to do commerce with people all over the world, because we're all really enjoying it. We love it. They're so delighted, as you've put it, with their earnings. We're all really happy. There's businesses flourishing, and long may it continue, Charles. And it's Bitcoin is at the forefront of that.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Nicky, and really good luck with it. You don't need luck. It's all working, but thanks for your time today.
It's so kind of you, Charles. We really appreciate it a lot. Thank you ever so much.
Well, thanks very much to Nick Numas. And if you want to find out more about TDXP, there's an earlier edition of this show in which Nick appeared with Arman Azatian, its CEO, who he mentioned there. Next week, we're looking at the future of entertainment with Tony Mugavero, the CEO of RAD, which is bringing NFTs to the streaming video market with help from Bitcoin SV. So please join me for that. But until then, thanks for listening and goodbye.
Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin wallet, blockchain, stablecoins, MetaNet, the evolution of money. Everybody is talking about Bitcoin today, but what exactly is it? Learn the basics from experts. Learn what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why it matters. Bitcoin 101, your ultimate guide to the fundamentals of blockchain.